Right, animation one. We're going to very quickly go through how to create an animation in Adobe Animate. So, are you guys ready? Ready, ready? Here we go. I'm going to go down to the Launchpad. Yours looks like a different icon, but you find your Launchpad, and then you're going to go and find Adobe Animate. Now, if you notice, these little dots down here will let me scroll through all the different softwares that we have on a computer. But I want you to find Adobe Animate, and then open that up. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you how to do animating on twos. And then you're going to create any sort of, if this pops up, just hit skip. You're going to create any animation that you like, whether that be a rocket ship taking off, a ball bouncing, an eye blinking, a tree growing, anything like that. So whatever you want to do, okay? Create an animation that lasts a couple of seconds, maybe a second or two. How about that? All right, here we go. Let's go through the process. I've opened up Adobe Animate. You probably will see on your side, not this exact thing. You'll probably see where it says create new and it'll be blue. So just click create new. And then I want you to open full HD. Full HD is high definition, and that's exactly what we want. Okay. Now I'm going to position my thing so we can see more. Here we go. As a reminder, the tools are right over here, and we'll eventually go through what these tools do, but we're just going to go through a couple of very simple ones. I have my canvas, my timeline, and then some windows over here, which we'll talk about another time. Some important things. I'm going to first click this and go to Fit in Window. Now, this just makes certain that we're not zoomed into a small section of the screen, and we can see the entire thing. Okay. Now, I'm going to first draw something. So as I go to the brush tool, the classic brush tool, which is right there. We also have a paintbrush tool and a pencil tool. You can use either one of these. Do not use the pencil tool. We'll talk about that later, but use one of these two. I'm gonna use classic brush. And you'll see right over here, I can change the size of my brush. I can change the color of my brush, which I'm just gonna leave all this alone, okay? So, it dawned on me that some of you guys, when you guys log into your computer, the tablets may not work. It may not be, because I need to put in a username and password for you. If you don't have your tablet pen today, do it with a mouse. I know it's not going to look good. I know we don't animate with a mouse. But just for today, if you have to use a mouse, go ahead and use a mouse. Okay? So I'm going to draw an eye. And you're like, oh, gosh, I didn't know he was so talented. You're like, I know, I'm talented. All right. There's my eye. Remember, I don't do 2D art. Here we go. So I'm on frame 1. Notice I'm on frame 1. It says frame number 1 right there. Now, when we're animating on twos, the idea is we do not animate every single frame of the animation. We animate every other frame of the animation. And the reason being is if you animate every single frame versus every other frame, typically the eye can't tell the difference depending upon what the movement is. So we call it skip framing or animating on twos. So I animate frame 1, I draw my illustration, I go to frame 2, I go to frame 3, and right here I right click and I go to insert a blank keyframe. Okay, so I click blank keyframe. Notice my illustration disappeared. Oh no, that's okay, because I'm gonna turn on onion skinning. This little button right here will allow me to see the previous animation or illustration that I made on frame 1. So let's say if I wanted the eye to kind of like be turning, so I want the eye to kind of come over here to the side. Don't judge my drawings. Oh, that was terrible. But then the eye's moving over a little bit here. Same thing, 1, 2, right click, insert a blank keyframe. I can then extend this out if I want to see the movement that I'm making on each of these frames. So I'm going to have more of a bigger movement happening right here. It goes to the eye. The eye starting to turn this way. This is a terrible example. 7, insert a blank keyframe. I can extend this out even farther if I want. Last one, it's going to be really fast. Are you ready? Oh my gosh, you're going, God, he's amazing. But now I can scroll through and then see my animation happening in real time. I can turn off onion skinning to not see those the previous and the other frames, and I can see my animation. You're like, it's like watching like Bob Ross create a painting, you're like, how did he do it so amazingly? I know. Calm yourself. Okay, so this is how we animate on twos. That's it. We're going to get into way more complicated things about, like, chain, all these tools and how we can reuse layers and masks and different things to do other things. But for today, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to experiment with just animating on twos and animate me something. Draw anything you want. If you want to move things around, you can use this top tool and then select it and then move things. But notice that the little dot that I put in the eye is not part of this illustration. So I'd have to click to select all of it, and then you'll see the little dots that you see. See all those little bitty dots everywhere? That means that it's selected, and I can just move things. I can use the tool right beneath it to enlarge things, or to spin things. Okay, so that's it. Oh, so much better. Okay, so move, transform, brush. Only things that you need to know how to do today to be able to create an illustration, okay? Once you're done with your animation, I'm gonna give you the entire period to do it. You go to, at the very top, which you can't see because I blocked it on my screen, I'm sorry. We're gonna go to File, okay? And then we're gonna just save it, all right? Let's see, I'm gonna save it to my desktop in a folder called Practice Animating on Twos. And we'll call this practice. So you see the extension for an animate file is FLA, which is Adobe Flash. So FLA are animate files, and I'm going to save that in here. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, which again, I'm sorry, you cannot see up here at the top of the screen, but it's there to hit File, Export, and I want you to export out an animated GIF. Okay, wait for it. Cool. You can leave this all the same. There's a little color that I have on the back of my thing. It's fine, whatever. And then I'm going to hit Save. And I'm going to choose that Practice on Animating on Twos folder. You can click on this little arrow here to expand, so you can choose your desktop. Oh, there's my folder. Practice, Save. Okay. Now here, if I open up that Practicing on Animating on Twos, there's my GIF file, and if I hit the space bar, it'll play my animation, which looks terrible. But this is how we create a GIF file. This GIF file is what you're going to turn into me in the Assignments tab for our class today. It's going to be Practice Animating on Twos. You're going to turn that in. What I would like is something that's between 24 frames and 48 frames. So your animation should last about a second or two. So if you notice, there's 1 second's worth of animation. And I can zoom out here. Let's zoom out so I can see more of it. So there's 1 second's worth of animation. So you're going to create, since I'm at 30 frames a second, about 15 different drawings for 1 second's worth of time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, keep going, 5, 6, 7. And once you get to 15, you'll be right there at 1 second. Okay? If you want to push farther and try to do 2 seconds, by all means go do 2 seconds, and then you'll do 30 drawings to get there. Okay? And we'll talk more about this stuff later, but create an animation today, wow me, make everybody excited. Animation's cool. Make sure to turn it in today on Canvas before you go. Sorry if you have to use a mouse. Happy animating.